Hey everybody, I just wanted to record a quick video to cover the things that we talked about in class today. Um, so I'll have a separate video that talks about setting up Notepad++ from scratch and making sure you have the right plugins installed. But I just wanted to talk about the actual Python thing. So we're using Python 3.4, which I like a little better than the 2.7 version. But in class we talked about there's a lot of code and programs and things that people are using, and a lot of libraries that still rely on the 2.7 code. So not everybody switched over, but they're pretty similar. I like to kind of go with the newest thing. So we kind of started off just talking this little program right here. If you take a look at it and you type it up, this covers almost everything that we talked about. It handles doing a little bit of output using the print command, and if you'll remember, we have here we put the text that we wanted to show up in double quotes, and so it says the area of the circle is, and then we put a comma, and then we could put a variable name, and then we could put another comma and another block of text and whatever. And so the print command is very nice because it lets us stack up. In this case, I could do a comma and put in units. And I put a little space kind of at the beginning and end of things because it doesn't add spaces in. So that there is a print statement. I'll show what these all look like. Here we have comments. So if you notice that I put these two little hashtags here, it actually makes the text green, and that's a comment. So that means that the code won't get compiled, but it'll still be there for it to look at. So I really like to do it to label my work and leave myself little notes in my code. So here I might remind myself, hey, this is problem 1, assignment 1, Chris Bartlo. I might even, if I'm doing homework, when I was, taking computer science classes, I often copied the assignment in a comment right there, so I didn't have to keep flipping back to the assignment. I just had it in a nice little box at the top of my screen. And then I put little notes like saying, okay, cool, I'm going to calculate the area and the circumference based on the radius. So we talked a little bit about variables. So in this case, the equal sign means assign the values that you have on the right-hand side. So in this case, it's a mathematical calculation, and store them inside here. Okay. We also talked about how Python is really good if I have some variable called Bob and I put in a 7 there, it'll treat it like a number. So Bob will be thought of as a number. But if I put in Tom and it is, some phrase here that I put in quotes, then Tom will get treated not as a number, but it'll get treated as words. And so there's different things that we can do with words and numbers in Python. So it really is kind of nice that it does that for us. So in this case, I wanted to get some input from the user. This program, let me just run it so you can see what it does. It says enter the radius of the circle. I'll say the circle has 11 radius, and it says, hey, the area of the circle is 380, and then there's that units that I added in, and the circumference of the circle is, and then there's the 100 this, and or 69. Okay, so and this is the interactive window. So if I wanted to, I could type in area. That's the name of the variable. It would print it out. I could type in circ. It would print it out. We can even do fun little math calculations. Hey, 5 plus 88 is 93. We talked about the double asterisk, meaning raise something to a power. So 5 double asterisk 2 is going to be 25 because that's squaring it. Similarly, we can double asterisk and do a decimal, and it'll take the square root, right? 0.5 is raising it to the 1/2 power, which is the same as taking the square root. So all of a sudden, this little interactive window that we're using, which you can get to by either going into plugins, the NPP, and choosing this, or you can hit Alt-Shift-F5, which is what I tend to do because it's a lot quicker. So you can see here the area is doing the radius, raised to the second power, and then multiply that answer times 3.14. You'll notice that this uses standard order of operations, right? Because exponents happen before multiplication. That means I'm doing my power of 2 before this. Here I'm just multiplying everything by 2. This one I probably wrote a little, I tend to put a little space around stuff, depending on what it is to help me see it a little better. But it's really up to you how you want that to look. So input, the input command is right here, and you'll notice that it has parentheses just like the print command, and that's the prompt that you want to have to show up. So I say enter the radius of the circle, I call the input, and it starts to save it as a variable, and then this little float that is around it is saying treat it like a number. So we have floats, which are decimal numbers, and we have ints, which are whole numbers. In this case, we want them to be able to answer like input 5.5. So float says, okay, take the input, change it into a float instead of just words, and then save that as radius. Then I can use it in my program here. So that's really all we talked about today. It was a real simple aspect of this. We talked about all the different mathematical operators. So we have plus, minus, divide, multiply, exponent, and then the percent sign is the modular arithmetic, which we talked about before when we did some other things, but it's to find the remainder. So 5 mod 2 is 1 because it goes in cleanly with one remainder. So there you go. So hopefully that was useful to you today. This will be the first of a couple of these videos. Thanks.